Hello, hello, and welcome to the Ultimate Management Guide for Planet Coaster 2. If you've watched my channel before, you know that I am a real-life theme park manager, and I like playing theme park management games. The first Planet Coaster was pretty good in this regard, but Planet Coaster 2 has stepped up the management portion of this game so much. It is just incredible. So this guide, we're going to go through all the different aspects of the management portion of the game with the goal of getting you to understand how the game works and how you can use these tools to make the most profitable park you can. Because really, you know, that is the goal. We're here to manage a business, and with business, the bottom line is the most important part, and there are a lot of things that you have to keep track of in order to make a profit. In this first episode, I'm gonna go over how we're gonna lay this out, and then we're gonna just get into the basics of where things are, what they are, and then we'll get more deep into the different aspects as these different episodes come out. So I first want to show you guys how we have this set up. So I have made just this is not how I would design a park, guys. This is purely for demonstration purposes. So our entrance is down here, and we're going to have three little offshoots. This first one on the left is kind of where we're going to start, and it has full scenery and everything. Everything is kind of going to be maxed out. And then over here is the same setup, except there is absolutely no scenery whatsoever, and that will become important later. And then in a future episode, this part up here, this is where we're going to have a water park portion. I wasn't able to do everything all at once because I'm in a sandbox mode, but I'm in a sandbox challenge mode. So money and management are full on. I actually had to take out a loan to get as much money as I needed to do the left part, and again, we'll get into all of that. So this is how everything is going to be laid out. So a couple other housekeeping things. One is to ignore these alerts for right now. It's all in regards to the power over here, but we're going to get into that in a second. Okay. So with that in mind, let's go ahead and jump into our first topic, and that is going to be navigating through the different management aspects of this game. Now, I am playing on PC, so if you are playing on a console, some of your I don't know if the UI is exactly the same, so there may be some differences, but I'm playing on PC just so that we're all aware. Okay. Okay, so up first, kind of want to show you guys where everything is at. So up here in the top left corner is the park management tab. So you open this up and you're going to get an overview of kind of everything that's going on right now. You also see down here at the bottom that your game pauses as soon as you go into this menu. So you can feel free to be in this menu, to go through the different submenus and do whatever you need, whatever adjustments you need to make without worrying about your park continuing to run in the background. This is completely paused. So over here on the left, we've got park options, and this is going to open up two submenus. The first one is your summary, and this has just kind of your basic things. Think about your park options as everything that a guest would need when they first come into the park. So this is your name, this is whether the park is open or closed, this is your entry tickets, this is your pool passes and your priority passes. So this is directly in relationship to the information booths that are in the park. There's also going to be there's also this graph here that shows you what types of tickets are being sold, and this is very handy. The other thing to note before we move on is that everything in this game now revolves around a 1-day cycle. So at the end of one in-park day, you're going to get a daily summary, and then all of this will reset for the next day. An in-game day is pretty long, so you don't have to worry about this resetting too much, but just so you know, this is all based off of a one in-game day. Okay, now moving on to the next tab, which is park rating. The park rating tab is very handy to see what areas you're starting to fall behind in. So up here, this is your overall park rating, and this is going to take an average of these 4 subcategories in order to get you your park rating. So we have attraction prestige, and this is essentially showing you the overall quality of the rides you have. There are a couple different things that go into prestige. The age of the ride, the scenery of the ride, the excitement, fear, nausea factors, all those things, that all plays into the attraction prestige. For example, with age, rides will have a high prestige when they're new, and then they will decline over time. But then eventually, rides become so old that they become classic, and that puts their prestige back up. The next one down is your scenery rating. Scenery is exactly what it says. You have to have scenery in your park, and if you remember when I said I had these 2 sides, this is a big part of it, right? So we're gonna go back into here into park rating. Now, something that's cool about scenery is that there are things that both positively and negatively affect your scenery rating. Okay, we'll get deeper into that in a little bit. Unique attractions. This is just that way you can't spam down a bunch of Ferris wheels over and over again and expect to have a good park rating. You need to have variety in your park. This is very, 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 very good to keep in mind. And then your park reputation. This is directly translated to what your guests think of the park. So the higher your guests perceive your park, the better this rating is going to be. Now you take all of these, and there may be times where you see there's like this little thing down here, this exclamation mark that says wait. So what this means is that the lowest rated metric in your park, let's just say that it's unique attractions. If this is the lowest rated thing, it is going to have more of an effect on your overall park rating than anything else, because that is the game telling you that this is the thing you really need to focus on to improve in order to get your park rating up. It's hard to see right now because we don't have really anything going on, but we'll be able to show you that when we dive deeper into park rating. Okay, so if we go back to park management, the next tab over are your guests, is your guest tab. Now this will have a summary of their overall mood, their thought assessment, which plays back into the guest experience rating, and then it's going to give you thoughts down in this tab, or down in this area, and it's going to give you a graph of their needs in this tab. And then up here is showing your demographic. So again, we'll dive further into it when we have more guests in the park, and I'll really get into what all this means, but that's what this is. Now, the next tab in guest, which I think is a little interesting, I kind of wish this was in the finance tab, but it's not, is advertising. Advertising is a bit different. There are different types of advertising campaigns you can run, and before you can run them, you have to have met the requirements of that advertising campaign. So that's that. Guest tab, pretty quick right now just for this overview. The attractions and shops tab, this is going to give you just a big picture look at everything you have in your park. You can't do too many adjustments in here besides the price and whether it's opened or closed. But there are a bunch of quick ways to kind of get around in here. So like, for example, if I'm looking at Buoyancy 1 and I want to change the ticket price, I can click on that and it will open up the ticket price for me so I can change it. I can also look at the staff schedule for this ride and see that very quickly through this menu as well. It does all of this through, it has all the different things from your rides, your pools, your shops, your facilities, and your utilities. And all of these are big. So you can also sort these depending on how you want to see it. So if you want to look at what has the highest prestige or the highest daily income, the ticket price, you can look at everything that's closed at one time, everything that's open at one time. You can sort it by condition. You can do a lot in this tab to kind of get a big picture of how everything is looking. Okay, and then we go into the next one is staff. Now this is broken down very similar to how the rides tab is broken down. This is going to give you an overall look at the amount of or at the staff currently in your park. We don't have any staff yet, so there's nothing there's nothing here, but you'll see that a little later. The research tab. This is a new mechanic in Planet Coaster 2. In Planet Coaster 1, your research was per scenario, but now research is based on essentially like per company, per career, I guess. So if you're in career mode, your research tab will stay as unlocked as you've made it throughout the entire career. So if you have all of Chapter 1 unlocked, and then you go into another scenario, you will still have all of Chapter 1 unlocked. But since I'm in challenge mode, I don't have anything unlocked in here yet, so that's why nothing is currently unlocked. But there are different research trees for the different types of attractions you can have, and these are all up through here. And in order to get these, you need to have research points, which is reflected up here in the top right. And I'll show you guys how to do that a little later. And then finally, last but certainly not least, is our finance tab. Okay, so finance, this tab is going to have a ton of information for us. So first thing is you can filter it by different lengths of time. The park hasn't been open for more than a day, so we have either today or lifetime, which is going to be basically the same thing because we haven't really done anything yet. This graph is going to show you over time how everything is looking depending on which one you have selected. So if we're in park value, it will show you that. If we're in park cash, it will show you that. Profits, there's going to be a bunch of different things down here. So profits, we can drop this down and we can look at our income and we can look at our costs. So if we kind of keep this graph right here, it's going to show us our income, our revenue over our cost. Or we can go into specifically our cost, specifically our income, and then you can break that down even further. You can look at everything that is providing income. You can look at everything that is a cost. If you need to, you can break those down even further. The finance tab goes very, very deep, and then the other tab, the other section in finances is loans. And now you can see that we currently have a loan taken out. We took out $73,000 ish. And this is how you see where your loan is doing, or you see how your loan is doing. So you can see that currently we're at a 20% interest rate, and then they also are taking a 21% sales cut. So the loans are being paid back in two different ways, right? And again, we'll get into that a little bit more. So that is your park management tab. Now, like I said before, you can get to that by clicking Park Management, or if you want to get to something quickly, down here at the bottom left are kind of like some quick info tabs. So if you were to click on, this is the park name, which is, I just named the Park Management Guide because that's what we're going through. If I were to click on that, that's going to instantly open my park options. So if I need to quickly open or close the park, I can do that through here. Clicking this again will take you back into your park. If I need to go look at my finances, I can click down here on this is how much cash you currently have. If I click on that, it'll take me to my finances. Same thing, click it again, and it'll close. If I need to get some more information about my guests, I can click on the guest tab and it will take me right there. Or if I need to see what's going on with the park rating, I open up that and I click on that and it takes me right to it. So that is the rundown of kind of where everything is as far as big picture stuff goes. Now there are two other things that we need to go over to show you where they are before we can really get into it. The first of which is going to be your facilities. Utilities specifically. So utilities are buried inside of facilities. So if you were to go here, now chances are when you click on this, it will default to blueprints. That's fine, you can use those, but utilities are right here. It's the power and water symbol. So if you wanted to use a blueprint, that's fine. Or if you click on create custom and go to utilities, you can see we have all of these different things here. So right now the game requires you to have power management and water management. You need to provide both of these services. You need to have a power generator, and you also need to have a water pump when we're getting into pools. And then for power, you need a way to distribute that power, and then for pools, you need a way to filter the water. So just so you know, this all is here. Okay. And then the last thing I wanted to show you where it's at is the staff, some more specifics in staff. So staff have two other features. The first of which is the staff schedule, which if you click on staff and click on staff schedule, it will take you into this. Again, we're going to break this down a whole lot more, but this will have a big grid showing you all of your staff and who is working when and where. It'll also show you their breaks and all that fun stuff. Okay, and then the other one are staff zones. We don't have any yet because I haven't made them. I'm going to make them while we're going through this, and that is where you find staff zones at. So now we kind of know where everything is at, and we can get into our next topic. So the very first thing that we need to go over is making sure that everything in your park is able to open. So if you see over here on the boring side of the park, we have over here, we have a power generator and we have a power distributor. Now the difference is that power generators obviously generate the power. What I like about these is that they've kind of modeled them to look like a transformer box, like it's coming in from high voltage on the low voltage, or almost like a mini substation, kind of like that. I think that they modeled these really, really well. And then the power generator, this would be more like a big electrical panel somewhere. Now, when I go ahead and click onto this, you're going to see that a heat map opens up, and there's a graph here that shows red, gray, and yellow. Okay. So first, this line that connects these are essentially your power lines, and the power lines run underground, and they connect distributors to generators. If you just have a bunch of distributors around all connected to them, they're not going to do anything. So let me show you that. If I were to go ahead and grab a couple of power distributors, we'll put them over here. If I put this here, and I'm gonna put another one in here. Okay, great. If I were to connect power distributor to power distributor, you can see that it's still grayed out, showing that there is no power currently running between these two, and that's because they're not connected to a power generator. Okay, now let's get rid of those. Now, if I needed another power generator over here for some reason, and I connect this up, I can connect it up either way. All it has to do is connect to this network, right? So if I connect it to the distributor, it instantly turns yellow, meaning that it has power. I can also take this and I can run it right back to the generator itself. That's perfectly fine too. You can run it basically anywhere you need to. Now we don't need that right now, because you can see in our heat map that everything on this side has power. Okay, so that's how you do that. Okay, now with generators, the other thing you have to keep an eye on is how much power how much power is being used by one of these generators. So each of the generators can provide 120 units of power. And you see down here, it says power uses 114, meaning we have 6 power units left over. So if we look at something like this teacups ride here, and you go into the operations tab, you can see that it takes 21 power units in order to get this ride open. So since I only have 6 left here, if I were to try and put down another teacups ride without any scenery at all, right here, and it's right next to a distributor, right next to the generator, all that's fine. And if I were to try and open this, it's gonna say no power. Okay, so if I go ahead and look at this map, you can see that this teacups ride is within this heat map, but you see that it needs it's missing 15 power units right now. That if I were to try and open this ride, it just doesn't have enough. So in order to mitigate that, what you would need to do is add in another power generator. So you just add that on to here, and you connect it to your existing grid. And now if I look at this, you can see that there is plenty of power left. That is how power works. We don't need any of this, so we're going to go ahead and get rid of it. But that is how power works. So don't think that you can have one power generator and a ton of distributors and try and do your whole park. It's not going to work like that. Now currently distance doesn't really matter. So if I wanted to, I could just put down a whole bunch of power generators and have the entire park powered from one spot. That's perfectly fine. I don't know if distance will matter in the future, but for right now it doesn't. So that is fine. Okay, so sticking on this topic, we're going to go ahead and get this side of the park all powered up and ready to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go into my facilities, and we are going to use blueprints, and I'll show you why that's important in a little bit. So I'm going to grab a power generator, and I'm going to put it, actually, yeah, right here is fine. And then I'm going to add a power distributor. Oops, sorry, that's a generator. I'm going to add a power distributor right next to it. Connect these two, and I'm going to connect these two together. Now watch, you see this whole circle is gray right now. As soon as I connect this to the generator, it turns orange. Now, currently, this generator actually, that reminds me. Another quick tip: if you need to get to menus quickly in a certain category, you can double click on just about anything and it will take you to what you're looking for. For example, if I double click on this path right here, it will open up the path tool. If I double click on this generator, it will open up the power line builder. So just a quick way you can get in between things. Now, with that in mind, I'm going to go into the power heat map, and you can see that from this distributor, I'm currently only powering the cube and the buoyancy over here. If you look on each thing, whether it's a ride or a shop, whatever, there's gonna be these little squares. If the square is green, it has power. If the square is red, it doesn't have power. So that means the whole left side and the back, we need to get more power in here. So we're gonna add a couple more distributors in order to do so. So first we're gonna get one, we're gonna hide this guy. Okay, we're gonna hide this right there. I'm going to connect it to my generator. Now that one's good. And then we're going to add one more over here to get all of these shops. Same thing, I'm going to hide it back here behind these buildings. Okay, add that there. Connect it. And now you can see everything in this area is nice and green. And if I look at the power generator, currently we're only using 30 power units. We're only using 30 power units because that's only showing us what is currently open. So now I'm going to go through and we're going to start to open all of these rides. So this coaster is about to take 37 power units. As soon as we open that, that's going to take 37. And then if I go on here, you can see now we've used 67. Okay, so we're at 67, we're at 53 remaining. And if I were to go and open the teacups ride, you can see now we're at 32 remaining. So instantly, you can see that the cube had a little power symbol pop up. What that means is that we have 32 remaining in the generator, but we need 46 power to operate this ride. The buoyancy can open just fine because it only needs 17 power units to open. So we're gonna go ahead and open that guy. But we don't have enough power for the cube. How do we fix it? Simple, we add another power generator. So I'm gonna add this guy over here into our we got a little power thing kind of going on. And we're gonna connect that to our grid. The warning symbol goes away, and now we can open the cube. Okay, so I've gone ahead and let the game run for a little bit to get as many guests in the park as we currently can. And if you notice something, this side of the park is not very busy. But this side of the park is very busy. This queue is full. This queue is getting full. This queue is full. This queue is getting full. Like, look at this. People are wanting to ride these rides. And yet, the same type of rides over here, not as many people. Not nearly as many people. Well, that's because the guests value how your park looks. And how you know that, there's a couple ways that you can figure this out. And they're all going to be, there's a couple ways you can figure this out. One way is to click on each individual ride, and you can see down here its scenery rating, which is 0. So if we look at this one, this is the cube. It says that it has a scenery rating of 0. But then this cube has a scenery rating of 100. It also has a prestige of 960. This cube has a prestige of 460. Okay, this buoyancy, 0 scenery, 180 prestige. This buoyancy, 680 prestige, 100% scenery. So that's one way you can see which rides are going to be more favorable over others. The biggest thing for this is that guests will have a higher tolerance to wait for something if the scenery in the queue and around the ride is good. So now, more specifically, if you go into the Prestige tab, you can see where it gets its Prestige rating from. From the ride, there's 3 things. There's the ride experience, the scenery bonus, and then the reputation. So right now it's new. Eventually it's going to be old and dated, and then after that it's going to be resurging, and then it'll kind of go to old. So there's ebbs and flows in that. So right now it's got a huge scenery bonus, and that is what we want to see. Now queue times are going to get long over here, so the guests may start to favor these shorter queue times. But you can see that they, at least initially, everyone wanted to go to this side because these rides had a higher value. Now the other way you can see this is through a heat map, and if you go to the scenery heat map. There's both scenery score and something that needs cleaning. We're going to stick on scenery score here for a second. So everything that's highlighted in blue is going to increase scenery ratings. Everything that is in red is going to decrease your scenery rating. So if you look over here, we have the same setup, right? We get the same shops. We have our utilities, right? This is all exactly the same. And yet over here, the same shops and the same utilities without any scenery has a huge impact on the guest's perception of the park. So just having empty shells like this for your gift shops and things, it's not going to be as desirable. You need to have it dressed up even a little bit to get the shells covered. That's why for your power generators and things, even doing something as simple as adding a wall to block the view of it is going to help. Now, if you remember, there was a little bit of pink over here, and that's simply because you can still see it. If I were to very quickly edit this building, and again, this is not a building tutorial by any means. This is a management tutorial. If I were to go in here and just grab a wall and block this off from all sides, so you can't see it at all. Now if I go into my heat map, now I don't know what's saying that it's red. Maybe it's because the walls aren't tall enough. You can kind of see from the front. Let's see if we can fix it. Let's just try and take this and let's put this tall wall all the way around and see if that helps us. It may take a second for these to kind of adjust, but that's the idea. If you don't have any scenery around your utilities and your facilities, it will become less desirable to your guests. Okay, so now that the park has been running for a little while and we have guests and things in place, I want to go back through the menu so you can see what these look like when they're populated. So when you open up park options, it gives you the overview of your park essentials and your top guest thoughts. Now, top guest thoughts means the things that have the what most people are thinking. So right now, most people are thinking that it's a beautiful day, it has great scenery, but they also need something fun to do. Okay, so if there were more people thinking other thoughts, these will get replaced. This also gives you a quick rundown of your park rating without going into the park rating tab. Just so you know that this is here when you open up the park management tab. So if I go into our park options, we can now see that some things have been generated. So currently, the amount of tickets, quote unquote, sold, because our entry type is free right now. There are 1,472 adults in the park and 159 children in the park. Okay. And then our park rating now, this is where we can really see what is affecting us. So the biggest thing right now that's affecting us is unique attractions, and that's because currently we have 2 of everything in the park. So that'd be pretty easy to fix, right? But what I want to look at next is the guest tab. This page is very important for what to do next in your park. It looks at the overall mood of your guests, what they think of your park, and the demographic breakdown. This is also pretty key. Typically, adults and families are going to spend more money in your park than teens will. Teens are here for the big rides. Adults are here for the big rides, and they'll spend some money, but families are here for the gentler rides and just a day out, so they will spend more money in your park. And then as far as guest thoughts go, it's going to give you the top positive thoughts and the top negative thoughts. Positive thoughts are great. Keep this going. Maintain good thoughts. But your negative thoughts, these are going to show you what you need to do to improve your park pretty quickly. So the top thoughts are: I need something fun to do. The queue for teacups was full. There's not much scenery here, and I'm getting thirsty. So we're not gonna really do all of that. That's more with the what my other series are for. This is more to show you how to manage all this stuff, right? To kind of get into everything. And now that we have some flat rights here, we could start an advertising campaign if we wanted to. Okay. And then now our finance tab is going to have some information here as well. So if we look at our profit breakdown, we can see now we've got this graph where our costs have gone down pretty significantly, and you can see it doesn't really tell you what this means, but it's your green graph is your revenue, and your blue graph are your costs. Okay. So if we want to look at our costs more specifically now, you can see what is affecting us the most, and if we want to look at our revenue, we can see what is getting us the most. And obviously right now it's going to be attraction tickets, because that is what's driving most of our revenue, right? So I just wanted you guys to see that once the park is actually populated and things are happening, that those are very dynamic menus. Okay, so that's where we're going to leave it for this episode. I wanted to just kind of give you guys an overview of where everything is at, and kind of start looking at where to begin your park management journey. In the next set of episodes, we're going to dive deeper into the different menus that we already looked at, and really see what it takes to manage a theme park. All right, so that's where we're going to leave it for now. If you learned something, if you enjoyed it, please do give the video a like and subscribe to the channel for more Planet Coaster and park management content. I really am trying to grow the channel this time around, so I would really appreciate that. But yeah, that's going to do it, and I will see you in the next episode of the Ultimate Theme Park Management Guide for Planet Coaster 2. Thanks again, everybody. Talk to you later. Bye-bye.